Hello and welcome to a snowy episode of the Blue Mountain Lakes podcast. I'm Mary Lynn and I'm coming to you today from the only snow that we've received all winter long. Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia has seen absolutely no winter weather. I had the windows open like 2 weeks ago, but it's kind of fizzled off to like a little bit of a flurry right now, but it's supposed to keep going off and on until 5 or 6 tonight, so I'm just got a nice cup of tea, and I've been knitting all morning, and I'm just enjoying it while it lasts. And it's like the nice kind of snow that like looks really pretty, but doesn't stick to the road, so I can still go to lunch with my friend later, so I'm all about it. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. Thanks for stopping by. Got a couple things to share. Some acquisitions this time, which I know I haven't done in the last couple episodes, but I think for Olive had their Ukraine sale, and I ordered some stuff from Wool Warehouse for spring and summer tops, so we got that at the end. But yeah, let's just jump into finished items. Well, first I'm wearing my halibut sweater. This is not, it's a finished item, but it's not like this week's finished item. But it is done in drops Lima, both colors. And it is one of my most worn knits. I absolutely love it. The mock turtleneck. It's pretty turtlenecky on me, but it's not the long one. She has two length options for that. And I love it. And it's held up super, super well. But my only actually finished object this week was a ranunculus by Midori Hirose that I have already gifted to my friend, so it is not with us. I took a few pictures yesterday before I took it to her house, and it's basically a copy of one that I made for her for Christmas. And the only difference is she has wider shoulders than I do, but otherwise we're pretty proportionately the same. So when I tried it on, I decided to not do the raglan increases that are in the updated pattern that I guess came out sometime last year, because in the one I made for myself, I didn't add those in, but I also, I didn't take into account the fact that like the one I made was made in a fingering weight on size 8 or 10 needles. So it was a much, much looser fabric versus the one that I made for her, which is in a heavier cotton. And like I said, our shoulders are not the same. So she wears the Christmas one constantly. She's super, super knit worthy, but she did mention once that it is a little tight under the arms, and I personally don't like that. So I was like, you know what? I'll just make you another one. No big deal. I have tons of that yarn. It was something I bought at Michael's ages ago, and I bought like a whole bag of it, and I'm so sick of looking at it at this point. I've made a long sleeve sweater, 2 ranunculi, and thrown away some of it, and I still have a ball left. I thought it was all gone, but I found some in the bottom of the drawer. Whatever. Anyways, yeah, it came out really well this time. The raglan increases, oof, excuse me. The changes that I always make to my ranunculus, I don't do the front short rows because I just don't like them. So I only do short rows in the back, so it, closer neck on the front for the collar. And then I added, that was the first time I had done those raglan increases, which were great to fix, this area, but then I felt like it made the body so wide. So I did end up doing waist shaping, and I think I decreased like 8 or 10 stitches, after the width of the bust was over, and just kind of zipped it in a little bit. But yeah, I think it came out really well. I wore it around the house for a little bit before I gave it to her. It was very comfortable. So hopefully she likes it, and hopefully it fits well. I didn't get to see her try it on before I left her house yesterday, so fingers crossed on that one. And that's about all I have to say about that one. I kind of touched on it in the last episode, so you've heard one ranunculus, you've heard them all. Beyond that, I have a couple works in progress, and I keep starting new projects, even though I'm finished my only projects. That's like the story of a knitter's life, right? So first thing I want to share is my self-drafted sweater I've been working on. Almost done. I want to finish this before the end of March so I can use it as my last entry into Casey Apple Young Folk Knits Bougie. Sorry. Friends messaging me about lunch. Bougie sweatshirt knit along. And there's no way I'm not going to finish it. So here's where I am. Ta-da! Basically matches what I'm wearing now. So this, I just wanted something that was like all over texture, a raglan, something simple, a little oversized. I think the sleeves might be a little bit too oversized, personally. Let's just talk about this. So I did cabled edging for the raglan, whatever you want, a cabled raglan. And I'm using Rowan felted tweed, which is so, so pretty. I love, it's got like blue flecks in it. And it's so nice and it's so squishy. And because I'm doing a seed stitch all over, it's so stretchy. Like there's a lot. Because I hold it up and it looks like it's, child-sized. But I have tried it on many, many times at this point, and it definitely fits. And I think that this yarn is going to bloom pretty well in blocking. Did I block like a gauge swatch or anything? Ooh. Should have. Wish I did. Could still. Not going to. Just gonna hope for the best. And if I have to rip it out later, whatever. It was fun. This was the first time I've ever attempted to draft anything on my own. And one of my big pet peeves is having close underarms. I really don't like to feel constricted in my sweaters. So I wanted to make sure that my raglan was deep enough, which I think it is, but that's led to like these kind of super giant armholes, which also it didn't drop stitch. Yeah, like I just feel like my arms are a little bit big. So I have done decreases, and it's not terrible, but I do notice when I'm wearing it that it kind of puckers, like you get a little extra fold of fabric like right there. It's not that big of a deal. I just don't know if it's going to be worse after it's blocked, which is very possible. But again, I think this is a good, it's your first creative garment, and first time I've stepped outside of my comfort zone to just kind of wing it. I've made quite a few sweaters at this point, but I've really only jumped into sweater knitting in the last year or so. I've knitted since I was 8, but it was all, hats and scarves. And I took a really long hiatus because hats and scarves get really, really boring. And I had some really physical demands from work, and I just couldn't knit for a long time. So I got to put this one silent. So yeah, for me, this is a big step out of my comfort zone, and it was really exciting. And it's also one of those things I wanted something that's very simple in construction, and it's simple. It's it would be a really simple pattern, and I just hadn't really seen anything that I knew oh, that's what I want in my wardrobe. The closest thing would have been, at least on my radar, was the Gibb sweater that Andrew Mowry came out with last fall, I think. But I know that the textured stitch that she uses in that sweater is the same textured stitch that she uses in the Big Cozy Cardi. I can never remember the name of that. I don't know why. And I despised knitting that to the point that I ripped out my cardigan and cast it back on in a broken rib, but I'll show you that in a little bit. Not doing that. Really not doing that to myself. So that having been said, I was like, you know what, I'll just try it. And I have ripped it back quite a few times, and I am trying to embrace that whole mindset of if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna have to rip it out. So it hasn't been terribly stressful, and it's not like I have a deadline or whatever. And anyways, so that's where we're at. I've marked my sleeve decreases. I kind of wish I would have decreased a little sooner on this arm. I'm not really sure I am sure why I waited this long. I hadn't tried it on yet. So when I tried it on at about, this length on my sleeve, I kind of realized, oh, I've got that weird, there's extra sleeve that's just kind of making a floppy whatever. So I started decreases. And, yeah. So it's really nice by the end, and I did a nice long ribbing to match the ribbing at the bottom, which I also did pretty long. The collar I didn't do very long ribbing on, but that's okay. So yeah, this should be finished. Gosh, I'll have this finished probably this week if I just concentrate and stop starting other projects. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this yarn wears too. I got it on a clearance sale at my local yarn store, and it's got an alpaca content, and it's really hairy, which I find very strange. I don't know if this camera will pick it up, but I don't know if it's coming through, but I can just pick them out. That's the weird part about it. This is an alpaca blend, And yeah, you can see some of the alpaca hairs, but this, like, it's not sticking to the wool. It kind of looks like I rolled around on my floor and got covered in dog hair because I can just pick it off. So I'm sure some of the wash will help with that. We'll see. Yeah, that's my self-drafted sweater, such as it is. I think it'll be super cute. I've got really cute, I bought brown Chelsea boots. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to wear my cute texture sweater with my new boots and a pair of skinny jeans. And now I need to knit a hat to go with it. You know, it's always something, right? Okay, so that's that. Next in my big bag of goodies is, I finally got started on my Zweig, but it is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter, and it is very beautiful. Boyle Knitworks is her Ravelry, I guess her business name. It is a round yoke pullover with a big textured lace section in the front. So I decided to go for the size, I usually do size 3 on Caitlin Hunter patterns. This is a Caitlin Hunter. I've got a couple others. Size 3 usually fits me pretty well for her stuff. But I don't know why. I guess it was kind of like almost on I don't know. I think it was a subconscious thing that I was like, oh yeah, I'll just knit size 4 this time because I want a little bit of extra ease. And thank goodness I did, because my dumb self didn't sit to think about the fact that it's a lace panel right over the chest. Like, you're going to have to wear something underneath of it. Like, there's no choice. So I definitely have plenty of room for a tank top to go under this, which is perfect. So I'm using Drops Flora. Not a whole lot of progress, but Drops Flora for the main color, and it's so soft. It's another alpaca wool mix. It's just their lighter weight version, I guess, of Lima. And then the colored section, the contrast color, is Malabrigo. Couldn't tell you what this is called, but I will look it up. And I kept the tag. I just don't know where it is right now, but I will try to remember to put that on the screen. But it is a superwash fingering weight I got at the local yarn store with a gift card from my in-laws, which is really nice. So this is coming together so well. I was kind of worried because this has I knew I wanted to knit the main color in this dark gray. I already owned the dark gray. And when I went to the yarn store, I had an idea that I wanted a green, but I didn't take this with me. So when I left and saw it like in natural light, there's a lot of brown in this, and I was worried that it would be like too brown for the cool gray. But I think it looks really good. The lace part is not very difficult. I had mentioned this pattern once before on the podcast, and somebody had said that they were interested in making it, but that they were afraid they wouldn't be able to, they didn't have the skills to do the lace panel. It's not bad at all. Like, I'm only like 10 rows into it, but still it's not bad. There's only like 2 sections of like actual cables. Mostly it's just yarn overs, knits, and purls. And it just kind of makes a really pretty pattern. So you can do it for sure. If you're worried about it, you can definitely do it. It's not difficult. Either print out the chart, or like I have it on my iPad, I just mark it off as I go line by line, and I did section off. It comes in like sections of 12. It's like a 12 stitch repeat. So I just went ahead and sectioned off so that if I did get lost, I can only be lost by that 12, that section of 12. So very happy with it. I'm using size 5s, and I did swatch for this, and I did swatch it in the round like you're supposed to, because I never do that. One thing I didn't realize when I bought this pattern, and like until I was doing the gauge swatch, she said to make sure you get your gauge in the X pattern. I was like, what does that mean? And you're swatching in your main color, so I just figured it'd be stockinette stitch. Well, little did I know that it's supposed to be a textured stitch on the whole body underneath of the lace panel. In her sample, in her pattern, she used a very dark gray, very similar to this, and you cannot see it unless you're looking for it, that there is a textured body, so I'm not doing it. I went through the project page and saw that there were quite a few other people that hadn't done it either, so I don't feel like too bad about it. but it would be very pretty in a lighter color where you could actually see the little X's throughout it. But yeah, I'm not going to be sad that I don't have to really pay attention once I get to the body. I can just go, you know. But yeah, it's so far been super enjoyable. I just cast this on, today's Sunday. I just cast this on Friday. And it's just, you know, it's just really fun. Lace patterns, you just kind of, any kind of color work, I think you're like, I'll just do one more row. Maybe we'll just one more. I got a couple more minutes. Because it's such a lightweight fabric and it has, you know, the big like lace open panel, I think I'll for sure get used to this like throughout the spring. Spring showed up a whole month early here in the mountains. Fingers crossed we don't end up having summer here a whole month early. I'm not a big fan of hot weather. And I don't want to give up my wool just yet. So yeah, that's that. The Zweig so far. Great pattern. Not that far into it. Maybe hold judgment till next time. So there's that one. The only other that I started this literally last night. So I've been wanting a Musselburgh hat for like forever. I asked some people on Instagram, like the Oslo hat by Petite Knit and the Musselburgh by Isolde Teague? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. They look so similar. And from what I understand, the only difference between the two is that Petite Knit's is bottom up and has a double brim that's intended to be folded up so you get like 3 layers around your ears, versus the Musselburgh that's actually top down into a tube, close the tube, and then poke the tube inside of itself, if that makes sense. And then you fold it. So you end up with 4 layers around your ears and double layer everywhere else. And it really doesn't get that cold here. I mean, in my opinion, I'm also pretty hot-natured, so probably should have gone with the Oslo, maybe, but the Musselburgh was like way more recommended to me than the Oslo, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I initially started on a US 4 with this fingering weight yarn. This is from Yarnable. I think she has like another name. But it was a Yarnable yarn. I was part of the mail club for a while. And this colorway is Laugh Some More. Like s'mores. And I really like it. I like the little flecks of brown. And as I'm knitting it, I'm finding there's some like really, I guess it's just from the speckles. I'm assuming she speckled the yarn. But there's like these really bright orange spots that I think is just a breakdown of that brown color. And there's also some blue in there, which I think must also be a breakdown. I'm not a dyer. I sometimes watch people dye on YouTube, so I like to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. I don't. But anyways, I started it on a 4 and I made it, so you know, start at the top, you do your crown, and I got to maybe like this long on my face before I realized A, I didn't particularly love the fabric because it was a little too loose, and B, when I took it off the needles, I was making it on, I have like short circulars, so you can't really tell how big it is until you get that length in there. And it was definitely wide enough to be like a child's tube top. I put it on my head. It was huge. So that got ripped out, obviously. So I decided to A, magic loop it, and B, drop way down to a size US 2. So it's like a, what, 2.25 millimeter? 2.75. Why can't we be on with everybody else in the world and just do millimeters, you know? Anyways, I can't ever keep ours versus everyone else's straight, so I usually just default to saying US sizes in case anybody's wondering, and I don't specifically say it, but this is making a much tighter fabric. I like it quite a lot. So you start with an invisible, or a disappearing cast on is what they call it. And, you know, there's like a couple in there that are listed, and it just says, like, use your favorite disappearing cast on. And the first time I cast it on, I did a disappearing, basically it looks like a magic loop cast on in crochet, but you're knitting it, and the way you have to do it is like, it's really fiddly, I think. So this time I just did a magic loop crocheted circle, and then just picked up stitches around that, and you can definitely see like the circle where I did that. You can see there's the stitches there where I you can tell they're crochet stitches. That does not bother me at all in the least. It took no time to do, and I didn't cuss very much when I did it. So I would prefer to just relax a little bit. So it looks, kind of weird on the top, but I don't think anybody's really going to notice it. And I could honestly, I could probably sew down those little bumpies if it really bothered me, but I don't think it's going to. It's busy enough with all the speckles. I think it's fine. So yeah, so far, I'm past the increases. Now I'm just doing the long tube. It's a lot. It's a pretty substantial tube, because you figure you have to have the length of the hat plus the brim twice over, and then you decrease, close it up, and then you're done. So depending on how this goes, I might honestly for my next one do 2 colors, because I think it'd be really neat to have 2 hats basically. Just flip it the other way around, have a different color. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Or it would be cute to do the main part of the hat one color and then a strip in the middle of another color, so you have a color pop on the brim. Don't know. We'll see. And of course, I'm doing this as we're moving out of hat season, but it's fun and it's quick. And I just started this last night, and I'm this far along. It's just very mindless. I'll probably take this with me to lunch today, just to have something to keep my hands busy. Yeah, so there's that. And my last work in progress is a beautiful, beautiful work in progress. I'm so happy with this. This is my Aurora Cabin shawl by Stephen West. I am using mostly Drops Alpaca. Yeah, Drops Alpaca. But I also have this color in there, which is Dirty Dye Works. I couldn't tell you the actual name of this. I picked this up last year. They're a Boston-based dyer, and we flew into Boston on our way up to Maine last year for vacation, my husband and I. And I picked this up in a Maine yarn shop. So this is my tourism knit, I guess. What's the word? Anyways. And I've also got this blue in here. Isn't it beautiful? Ah! I also have this blue that is not Drops. It is a perennial knit. I bought the blue and the orange for the MCAL, Stephen West MCAL last year, the Twists and Turns. And I got through section 1, which was a nightmare. And I started section 2. And I just hated it. I didn't like the way it looked. I don't think that, by that point, the final product was out. And I was like, I'm not going to wear that. I think it looks kind of funky. To each their own. I have seen gorgeous ones. And I think it looks really good when it's on, especially, with those really long, weird arms. You can just kind of wrap it around a lot, but it's just not for me. So I didn't want to waste the yarn, so I ripped it all out. And now I'm making my Aurora Cabin shawl. It is beautiful and perfect. Perfect in my eyes, anyways. This was the first time I tried to make this. I got through the whole first slip stitch part, and I was using purples, yellows, and greens, because I wanted to step outside of my comfort zone, but turns out that's way too far outside of my comfort zone, whereas this is the just right amount. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's just so... Yeah, so this is section 1 and 2, and then this is section 3, which is the first slip stitch section, and then you got section 4, which is called Garter Ridges. It's very simple and mindless. And then another slip stitch section, and then now I'm doing what do they call it? Slip ridges or something? Slip stripes? I don't know. I am a little concerned that I'm not doing this right. I don't know, on camera it looks a little bit better. I was off 1 stitch by the time I got to the end of a right side row. So when you're going back, it's knit, purl, whatever, across, and my knits and purls weren't lining up with his knits and purls, and I was like, oh my gosh, is it because I'm short 1 stitch? Or did I do the whole thing wrong? So I just, instead of ripping it back, I was just like, yeah, I'm sure I'm just off one stitch, I'll just add one. So I've just kind of been making it work the way that I think it ought to work. I've been like zooming in on pictures of people's, and I'm like, I mean, I think that's what this looks like. And I think it's fine, especially on camera. It looks like everybody else's. I feel much better now. But isn't this beautiful? And it's so soft, and it's so drapey. It's mostly alpaca content. The only, this one's merino. It's a superwash merino. But the rest of it is either 100% alpaca or the blue is an alpaca blend. Oh, it's just too much. Like, how cool is that? Now, I will say I was a little disappointed in myself that I got through 2 whole sections of this slip stitch section, pattern, whatever. And you have to, there's a little bit of cabling to achieve the, the little, I guess, Y shapes, whatever you want to call them, down at the bottoms. And it only involves 3 stitches at a time, so I was using a yarn, like a sewing needle, and I would slip, 1 or 2 stitches on that and hold it and whatever. And I was literally on the last row before switching to the section I'm on now. I was like, wait, why am I using this stupid needle? I could just knit through. Like, there's only one where you have to actually drop it to accomplish the cable. But they're so stretched out. Like, it's not like you're going to drop this long stitch and it's just going to zip back up in there, So, shockingly, it was way faster not having to bother with that. And I felt so stupid because it's a Stephen West, so it's a lot of stitches. I'm in, I want to say there's 300 stitches where I'm at now, I think. And you increase every row. So she just keeps on growing and growing. So after this section, there is a third and final slip stitch section, which that one's going to be a nightmare. It's going to take so long. And then I think it's the border, and that's it. And the border, I think, is a chevron, which will also take forever. But it's just so beautiful. I'm so happy with it. I'm a little concerned that I'm not going to have enough of this, because I only have 1 skein of it. I should be okay. I'm going to say I'm going to be okay. And if not, I'll just sub it out and cry a little bit. It'll be fine. But yeah, this is my crowning glory right now. It's just so drapey and soft, and I cannot wait to wear it. Will it match anything I own? Absolutely not. I'm okay with that. These are the color schemes I tend to gravitate towards. Navy, white, dark red, black. Which doesn't work well with all the dog hair that I have in my house, but I just love this. So, yay! And that's it oh no, that's not it for my work's progress. Ugh. There's not much to say about this one, but I did want to kind of briefly touch on my Big Cozy Cardi, Big Comfy Cardi, whatever. Andrea Mowry is doing her March to May knit along, and she does it every year, and whips are welcome. So I was like, you know what, that's a really good incentive to get this off my needles, because I think I started this last September. I started it on size 2 needles with the single strand of fingering weight and that textured pattern she has, and it was really just not doing it for me. Part of it, I think, is because I'm using palette, and I went for this high contrast marled yarn, and I think that with her intended stitch pattern just really did not play well together. But it's a super simple construction of the main body. It's all knit flat, and then it's sewn together later, and then you pick up for the sleeves. So I decided to switch to 2 strands of this held together, and I went up to US 6s and a broken rib pattern, and I think it looks much better than the original. I don't know if I have a picture. You can do somewhere, but I just didn't like that other fabric. This is definitely thicker, and it's it's not gonna have the same drape, and I don't know. I've knit a lot of stuff with palette before. It is my favorite 100% wool fingering yarn. This is my first garment that I've knit out of it, so I'll be interested to see how it wears. But it's also the first one I've done holding it double. So I have I'm doing a broken rib, 1 by 1 broken rib. So super simple. I've got one totally mindless row and then a knit purl row. This is my bedtime knitting, so it just sits next to my bed, and if I can't fall asleep right away, I just knock out a row or two. So obviously I have not made much progress because this being the body, I've got quite a ways to go. But I also think too, I think I might try to like pretty aggressively block it because it is very, I guess because it's a broken rib, it is drawing together a little bit. So I think, I don't know, we'll see. I'm spot on for my gauge. I did the math and figured out that, you know, how many stitches I need. And then the only other question I have for myself is like, when I get to the cuffs, which the way that this is made is you have these really, really long cuffs that you pick up after you've sewn the shape of your garment. Do I do those double-stranded or single-stranded? I think I would prefer it to be single-stranded, but is that going to look dumb? I don't know. So we'll see. And then the other issue I had with this, when I ordered this yarn from crochet.com, they have cheaper free shipping, in case I just like to remind everybody. So they sell the same stuff as Knit Picks. It's the same company, but there's a lower threshold for free shipping on crochet.com, so just in case you need it. When I bought it, I definitely thought that this was not going to be so gray. I thought it was going to be like a browner tone or more like an oatmeal. But it's definitely gray. So when I ordered it, I also ordered from Wool Warehouse the required amount of, I think I went with Drops Merino. Yeah, Kid Silk Merino in a brown. And it's like chocolate brown. It does not match this at all. It just doesn't look right next to it. So I also think that because her pattern calls for a Surrey alpaca, and I wasn't really thinking when I ordered it, and I got a merino, I don't think that it would have fluffed out enough, and I would have had to have held it double, and I don't have enough to hold it double, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I bought some Surrey alpaca in gray from Wool Warehouse. And then, of course, I didn't pay for the expedited shipping because, you know, like I'm not in a rush or whatever, so it took almost 2 weeks to get here, which is fine. But literally 2 days before I got here, I was sitting at my desk and I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I have dark gray alpaca that has been in my stash for 2 years. Hello? Well, it's only been a year. Still. I felt so stupid. I was like, why did I buy this? Yeah, so whoopsies. Now I have a lot of dark gray alpaca. I'm sure I'll find a use for it at some point. But yeah, this looks so much better together, I think, than chocolate brown, right? So that's part of my acquisitions, and I guess that's an easy way to transition into that, because that is all I have for whips at the moment. Pack this away. I got myself a nice sack full of yarn. Hurrah! Okay, so I bought some stuff from Knitting for Olive. They ship so fast. Like, it's insane. Their stuff, I ordered Knitting for Olive and the Drops stuff the same day, and they shipped it out the next day, and it was here a whole week earlier than, no, maybe a week and a half earlier than the Wool Warehouse. It was just, it was like that. Love it. And they always do that. Really good shipping. And there's a local yarn store that sells, I only have one close to me, and by close I mean 45 minutes away, but only one anywhere nearby that sells KFO. So I was kind of like, should I just go over there and pick up what I want, because I was going to start this sooner. And it was actually cheaper, even with the shipping, to order it directly from the manufacturer, so I did that. But I got cotton merino in these colors. And I will be using this to make, I can't remember the name of the pattern, so let me look. Argyle? I say Argyle, but I don't think that's right. By Claire Lakewood. And it is a stunning top. It looks like crap, so I will add a picture. I love that. I kind of forgot the color that I ordered because this is going to be my main color, and then the oatmeal will be the stripe. So this is brown ochre, or ochre brown, and oatmeal. And I kind of forgot that I ordered the ochre brown, and I thought that I ordered this red that's in the sample picture. When I opened the box or the bag, I was like, what the heck is this? And I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. And then I had like a crisis because I was like, what am I going to wear this with? I don't have jean shorts obviously, but I don't have anything else that matches ochre brown. And then I was like, oh, my skin tone, but it actually looks okay. So yay, whoops. I guess we'll see how it goes, and if this pattern works well and if it fits well, then I'll just make another one. I love their cotton merino. I have a Caitlin Hunter top made out of this, and it held up super well over the summer. It washes well. It did bleed a lot because I just washed it to get ready for the spring season. It's still bleeding, but I wash it by itself, so it doesn't really matter. And that one was like that dark teal color they have, so it could be part of it. Don't know. But I got those for that. And then I also ordered, because you can't not order, some pure silk. Look, it's a beautiful color. I bought some of this last year when they did their Ukraine sale, and I made camisole number 4 in a rust color, and I love that top. I will say that it has grown on me. Like, that was my first ever 100% silk garment, so I really wasn't sure what to expect from the wear of it, and it did kind of grow over time. So I think I'm going to go down a size this time. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go down a size, and it'll give me a little bit extra length too, because it came down to my hips, but I would like it just a hair longer so I can like tuck it into stuff. And yeah, so I have this color, and I still have a dusty rose color, 2 balls of the pure silk left over from last year that I just didn't use. But I'm going to do that because I love that pattern. And of course, I looked on my Ravelry page to check to see what size I had made so that I could go down a size. Do you think I noted the size? Of course not. I will say I made it in a week, though. I was very impressed by that. I remember I cast it on while I was at the lake with my family. But like the top part, the cups, take like 4 seconds to make, so that would be why. I'm not that fast of a knitter. It's just really quick. And then the only other thing I just bought like 9 balls of, is Drops Bell, which I've never used before. Not really sure what to expect out of it, but it is a 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen blend. And it's got a really pretty, like, kind of multi-layered color look with it that I really like. And for that one, I will be doing the Provence top by Ekaterina Vorobeva. Probably butchered that, and I'm really sorry. You have a really nice name. And this is actually what she suggests in the pattern, so that's awesome. She knit hers in Sandnes Garn Duo. Yeah, Sandnes Garn Duo, but Bell was an option on there, so yay. And I saw a podcaster that had made it and just left the sleeves off, and I'm definitely going to do that. It's a drop shoulder construction, and I think that's going to be plenty of sleeve for me. I'm going to wear a tank top under it because I always wear tank tops under stuff. But I think it's going to be really pretty. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I think it'll end up really quick because it's all lace. But it looks like it's a pretty simple... Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty simple, like, repeat. The only thing that's going to be really interesting about doing this pattern is it's got... As much as I love this sweater, the only thing I don't love is that it wants to fold up. But I think that's just my body and my bust size and circular yokes, and there's nothing to be done about it, and I just don't care. Anyways, this pattern has a kind of, like, it covers the bits, you know? So your lace starts straight and comes down into a V shape, and then it's solid around the cups. So that'll be interesting. I think it's going to be really fun to knit. And it's definitely going to be fun to wear. And I'm sitting here like, ooh, and then I could put it over top of that dress, and I could do this, and have a hat that look really cute. I'm ready for, like, outdoor vineyard season. I just want to sit and sip a glass of wine and look at mountains. I'm ready. Although now it's snowing again. It's really pretty, too. I like the seasons. I do like the seasons. And I like a snow that I don't have to shovel because we live on a hill and our driveway is like, it's not super long, but it's definitely the longest driveway I've ever lived in. And it's steep enough that like last year we had an ice storm and I drove home from work as it got kind of nasty. And my cart came in and I started to slide down the hill. So I parked it and was like, I'm going to get out and then, kind of chip the ice away so I have a track to drive in. And our hill is steep enough that when I got out of the car, I was safely on the sidewalk and there she goes, just wee. It's like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, what do you do? Your car's just sliding away from you. It's like, it's either going to hit my house, it's going to hit that tree and just destroy my car, and I'm just going to stand here because what are you going to do? You can't do anything about it. So luckily none of that happened and it stopped itself, but it was very nerve-wracking. So I don't like ice and I don't like to have to shovel that stupid hill, and it never fails that the few times it does like snow a lot I've been here for 4.5 years. Almost every time it's been when my husband's working, so he's either like sleeping all day and I'm out there trying to like keep it clear so he can go to work because his work you do not miss work. They don't care. You show up unless you're dead. Or it's like nighttime and I don't want him to have a problem coming in, so I keep going out. Like, it's like, well, it's 8 o'clock. Better go out and do my every 2-hour scrape of the driveway so that he doesn't have to try to plow his way through and slide his truck into the house, He lucks out. He just goes to work and goes, oh, was it a lot? Sorry about that. I'm like, yeah, my back hurts. It's good muscle building, though, I guess. That was a really long tangent. I'm done. That's all I got for you guys. Sorry, I just rambled at the end. I woke up this morning this is the first day of daylight savings time, or the lack of daylight savings time, whatever it is. We sprung forward last night. So my husband came home at what felt like 6 o'clock in the morning, but was actually 7 in the morning. We had the most beautiful sunrise. We always have really pretty sunrises here, and it's funny because my golden retriever will get up and sit on the hill, and I'm not sure what she's actually looking at, but it just looks like she's staring at the sunrise, and she does it almost every morning, and it's really cute. But she was out there this morning, and the whole bedroom was just like this dark red from where the sun had come up, and it had just enough of like a hole through the clouds that it was really pretty. I took a picture, so I'll put it in here, but it was really stunning this morning. And then, the clouds came in, and now we have the snow, and it's just enough that you have the daffodils and like these little bright spots of yellow in the snow, and it's really quite pretty. So I'm going to go finish my tea and enjoy that, and then go to lunch. Yay! So I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are. If you're getting some of the crazy snow this weekend, I'm sorry. Because I feel like the people that are getting like the bad part of this nor'easter are probably sick to death of snow at this point because, gosh, I can't imagine. Like one good snow and I'm done. It's kind of like where I come from, or, it snows and then it melts and I can just still leave my house. These people that have to go out and like pull the snow off their roofs to make sure their roofs don't collapse, I'm so sorry. I'm thinking about you. Stay safe, everybody. Stay warm. Enjoy what's left of the season, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks for the next one. Bye for now.